guys. It's going to be a great episode today.
It's going to be a very cold episode.
Yeah, that is well.
Hoe lang deze uitzending gaat duren.
Oh, Bas. Maar dit is geen media.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 9, season 2 of Het is weer Rak. And what an action-packed show we have for you tonight. Full of entertainment, controversy, and of course some sad news for certain teams that maybe the end is near in terms of top 6, bottom 6. Amazing panel tonight with, starting on my right here, Mitch McGahan, head coach of Ameland. Welcome, Mitch.
Thank you, Gareth.
And Daan Stuijfzand, or Stuijfzand?
Stuijfzand.
Stuijfzand. Stuijfzand, yeah. Welcome to the show, mate, from Rotterdam Students. I believe you play 9 or 10?
Yeah, it's 9 and 10. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Oh, welcome, man. And then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Marcker, our favourite guest at Het is weer Rak. Welcome back, mate. Always good to have you on the show.
Dankjewel, Gareth. Goed om er te zijn.
Oh, it's good. So, guys, obviously action-packed weekend. The weather was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I think I've never worn 3 winter coats and been sopping wet. And yeah, it was really interesting, but a lot of good footage and some interesting results.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think the big one, or the big talking point will have to be, given the predictions of this panel last week, Cass upsetting
Well, you go
HRC.
straight for it. You go straight for the jugular there. I think there was only one man who predicted it, and that was you. You weren't on the panel, but you told me the whole week, I think.
Yeah, I definitely did. I had a feeling. The feeling turned out to be correct.
Well, Cass, the team that sunk the Dukes. That's why Eric van der Sander's not here tonight. Unfortunately, he's taken a short leave, but will be back with us soon, hopefully. Get well soon, Eric. But moving on, gents, any opening comments from you there, Daan? How was your game here? You came back home to the Dukes?
Yes, I came back home. It was perfect. Always glad to be here. I was extra excited, of course. Despite the weather, it was nice to get out there again. Yeah, of course, we're devastated about the loss, but you get used to it at some time. But it was nice to get on the field and just to see some old blokes again. It was nice.
Massive respect to Rotterdam Students for how you've presented yourself this season. I think you've stuck to your word and you've come to every fixture, you've manned up and you've played some really good rugby. And as we'll see in the clips later, you know, you guys have really come to the fore. So yeah.
Thanks a lot. Of course, it's our first season in the Ereklasse, so we definitely had to get used to it. We're still getting used to it maybe, but I think with the first round ending soon, we are finally getting our composure back again. And I'm actually excited for the second half of the season. Nice,
man, nice. Mats, I mean, obviously you're not directly involved in Ereklasse rugby anymore with working with youth at The Hague, which is obviously a fantastic challenge, great club, massive club. Although, are you allowed in the clubhouse? Because there's a nice sign at the bottom of the stairs there. But
Ja, ik ben wel toegestaan, ja.
Oh, okay.
Maar dat heeft wel even geduurd, hoor.
Oké. Maar Mats, jouw opinie over de Ereklasse?
Ja, als je kijkt naar het afgelopen weekend, had ik niet verwacht dat Kaskum zou winnen van HRC. Maar als Kas wil winnen, winnen ze van iedereen.
Ja, dat is waar. Dat is waar.
En dat is een beetje een struggle voor een aantal clubs. En bij Kaskum is altijd, vinden een hoop mensen vervelend rugbier. Denk ik.
Ja.
En zeker Den Haag heeft er een bloedhekel aan. Maar als Kas wil winnen, winnen ze van iedereen.
Do they still play that song, Who Let the Dogs Out?
Ja, dat zingen ze niet meer. Ik ben er al een jaar niet meer geweest, hè, dus ik weet niet meer wat ze zingen meer.
Jammer,
ze nu zingen.
Ze treffen.
Kerstliedjes misschien nu.
Kerst? No, yeah, Mats, another question about the Ereklasse. I mean, if you had to look at it now, how do you see the top 6, forming? Do you see anything interesting there, or have you already picked? Is it a one-horse race?
Nee. Ik denk niet dat Rotterdam kampioen gaat worden. Ik denk dat het tussen Eemland Gooi gaat.
Nou,
dat denk ik zelf. Niet omdat jullie tweede staan, absoluut niet. Maar ik denk voor de lange adem.
That's a big call, mate. That's a big call.
Met name voor de lange adem heeft dat Gooi en Eemland gewoon een lange adem. En hebben een hele brede selectie. En daar ontbreekt het bij Rotterdam een beetje aan. Zeg je dat ze slecht zijn, hè? Zeg je dat ze slecht zijn? Maar het ontbreekt aan de diepte in de squad.
No, interesting. Daan, you have any opinions on that?
Nee, ja, ik denk, ik ga nog niet zo ver vooruit kijken, dus ik ga het iets safer spelen. Maar nee, ik denk dat het, zeker de teams, het gooien inderdaad, ja, het zijn goede teams. Ik kijk ernaar uit om morgen tegen ze te spelen. En nou, ik kan nog niks zeggen over wie er bovenaan gaat eindigen, helaas.
Nou, Mitch?
You've done a pretty good job in deflecting for most of the year, Gareth, and putting pressure on other teams. So, look, anything can happen on the day. We know that better than most. I think everyone does. And you look how close it's been in the top 6, or with 9 teams, going all the way down to the second to last game of the first round, potentially looking to break into that 6. People have taken points off each other. It's it's going to be a tight one, and it'll be whoever can probably come out with their players out of the international period the best. Obviously some tough games in February, and then a couple more in March. I expect there to be a lot of boys missing from those top 6 clubs. So whoever's come back in a fit state, I think will have an advantage in that top 6.
Yeah, I think that's also, you need a bit of luck. You need to make sure there's not that many injuries, which is always difficult. I mean, also when we play Georgia away, is the Eredivisie game. Ik vind het niet zo slim van onze competitieleden daar in Amsterdam.
Nou, dat zou de redding voor Rotterdam kunnen zijn, omdat Rotterdam relatief weinig jongens in het Nederlands team heeft. Daardoor zou Rotterdam enigszins compleet kunnen blijven het hele seizoen.
Ja.
Waardoor ze vaak een relatief rustiger seizoen hebben dan een Eemland, het Gooi, Den Haag, die eigenlijk wel de hoofdleveranciers zijn van
van de nationale ploeg. Yeah. Okay. Now, before we get into the action from the weekend, what's really important, obviously, with the show is we would love to hear your predictions of all the scores, all the teams. We would love to hear if you comment in the comment box below. It would be awesome to hear from you, the viewers, of what your predictions are of upcoming games, but also who you think is going to be at the top of the top 6 come the semi-finals or the final. But also, it would be nice to see who predicts who's going to win the bottom 6. Obviously, it's not 100%. Miracles can happen, but as we see it now, it would take probably a miracle for someone like the Dukes to still creep in.
Yeah, I think it'll be tight.
It'll be tight.
Very tight. Cass have still got to go and do the business against the students on
Rotterdam,
on Saturday, and Rotterdam. They need to pick up at least 5 points probably to make sure that they are in that top 6, and I'm sure Daan will have something to say about that on Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everyone is probably looking at the 6 as it stands. They'll probably jockey for position over the next couple of games, but it'd be a safe bet to say that everyone that's sitting in the 6 currently are going to be our top 6 come the second round.
Yeah, no, and I think obviously, Daan, you guys playing on Thursday night and then on Saturday. It's you must have quite a big squad.
Ja, zeker. Ik moet zeggen dat ik me verbaas over hoeveel mannen er op de training staan bij ons. Ik heb dit jaar getallen gezien boven de 80.
Zo.
Dat zie je zelfs bij ereklasseclubs zie je dat niet vaak voorkomen. Dus ja, ik ben benieuwd wat Michiel en Barro in petto hebben. We spelen inderdaad 2 wedstrijden binnen 48 uur. 3 wedstrijden binnen een week. Dus dat is niet ideaal natuurlijk. Maar ja, weet je, we beginnen elke wedstrijd zoals we het eigenlijk het hele seizoen gedaan hebben. We zien het wedstrijd voor wedstrijd en dat gaan we ook dit weekend doen. Dus ik focus me voor nu nog volledig morgen op het gooien. En dan vrijdag worden denk ik op de bank liggen en focussen voor zaterdag.
Lekker biertje na de wedstrijd, donderdag.
Eentje.
Ja, eentje.
Ja, eentje mag.
Atje.
Misschien een kleintje.
Right, so moving on to the action from the past weekend. The first game that we're going to have a look at is Breda against Rotterdam. The score was 0-28 to Rotterdam. Interesting score though.
Yeah,
I think we'll just watch we'll watch the footage and we'll talk our way through it there. Obviously the weather played I think everywhere in the country played a big role in how the games went. Interesting, the ref didn't have a problem with the colour.
Yeah.
But yeah, go Rotterdam. Really interesting charge down here from Breda. And as you can see, for me this weekend, it was way easier defending than attacking. Because obviously attacking, you had to move quite a lot. But defending, you just have to run straight.
Yeah, I think weather is a great leveller. having a look at maybe Rotterdam's team that they put out, it looked as though they gave a couple of their key guys some time from the bench. Maybe once they secure the result, whether they got on or not, I'm not too certain. But the main point is that they picked up 5 points, whether it's 28-0 or whether it's 60 or 70 points. They'll be happy in getting 5 points and staying on top of the table by virtue of having beaten us earlier in the season. Yeah, no, that's certainly going to be interesting to see how they finish off against Cass, because maybe you could pip them there in the last game there. Yeah, I mean, as HRC probably found out, and many of team have found out over the years, going all the way back to when Mats was playing there. Cass at Cass is a tough game. I don't think they seem to grow an extra 2 feet tall and bulletproof when you play there. They seem to be really fired up. So it'll be a tough ask for Rotterdam. Mats definitely needed the 2 feet to go. But it'll be an interesting one for Rotterdam up there. I'm sure Cass will be looking at that game and potentially backing themselves in. So who knows? Yeah. Daan, your opinion on Rotterdam this season so far? Obviously after this game, Breda, you had quite a tight game against Breda at the beginning of the season.
Ja, klopt. Ja, dat was ik wel. We hebben Breda vorig jaar natuurlijk ook gezien. Toen was het 1 wedstrijd voor hun, 1 wedstrijd voor ons. Dus ik moet zeggen dat die wedstrijd misschien wel de grootste teleurstelling wel van het afgelopen seizoen was voor mij in ieder geval. Die wedstrijd, die had ik in mijn ogen, hadden we die gewoon moeten winnen.
Ja, klopt.
En zeker als een van de, natuurlijk als een 9 of 10, dan reken je dat jezelf ook wel aan, omdat er zeker wat misging in de organisatie binnen het team. Ja, zeker. Ja, die pak het wel op me. Maar nee, het is wel als ik die wedstrijd ook terugkijk, dan zie ik gewoon een paar key dingen die we gewoon afspreken voor een wedstrijd. Die daar wel mis zijn gegaan. Dus dat is wel jammer.
Okay.
Maar ze doen het goed. Ze hebben beter dan mij in ieder geval. Ze hebben een aantal wedstrijden gewonnen, dus het is mooi om te zien.
No, Breda definitely have had a decent start. I mean, also with the Oysters, they beat Oysters.
Een hele goede start gemaakt, Breda. Ja. Toch credits voor Ronald.
Ja, een jonge team.
Ja, jongen, doet het toch goed. En we hebben vorige keer die vergissing gemaakt dat het bijna geen Nederlandse coach waren, maar toch eventjes te recht zetten tot Michiel en Ronald het al goed doen met studenten in Breda.
Ja, nou, dat was 3 Nederlandse coaches in Nederland.
Oh ja, natuurlijk. Ja, ik heb een Nederlands paspoort.
Ja, jij ook.
Nederland ook.
Nee, dus Breda doet het goed.
Ja. First, just to tell the viewers at home, unfortunately, some of the footage from the weekend, obviously with the bad weather, is not the highest quality. We apologise for that, but obviously we're trying to make sure that we bring the footage to you at home. So the next game we've got here for everyone is the Dukes against Rotterdam Students, Daan. So this is right up your alley, yeah? So I think it's lucky he missed the lift there, because otherwise I don't think Bram would have got over here.
Nee, voor mij, mijn perspectief is dit natuurlijk pijn, want we hebben van tevoren afgesproken dat we gewoon elke line-out competen. Maakt niet uit waar we staan, we gaan gewoon omhoog. En al heb je geen idee waar de bal komt, we gaan omhoog. Dus als je binnen dan de eerste 4 minuten line-out tegenkrijgt in je eigen 5 meter en niet omhoog gaat, dat is natuurlijk niet wat we afgesproken hadden.
But I must say, in this game, your line-out was pretty decent against the Dukes, and I mean, you had some nice hard runs. I think your centre, number 13.
Ja.
Also,
Paul,
Niels at 10 did a really good job.
Ja, nee, we hebben wel wat leuke aanvallen gehad, maar we vonden zeker afgelopen zaterdag komt gewoon de potential die we hebben, die we ook op de trainingen laten zien tijdens de teamruns, die is er niet genoeg uitgekomen in ieder geval.
Yeah, Mats, they're definitely a team that likes to play wherever they are on the field. They like to have a crack. They like to use the ball. They like to move the ball. Use the width as well. They like to sort of try stretch teams, hè?
Ja, er zit totaal geen angst in. Het is gewoon, en ik vind wel, en dat laat wel zien dat ze gewoon willen rugbyen met z'n allen. En ik heb liever dat ze de bal dragen, dat ze de bal schoppen. Hoe leuk is dat?
Yeah. I think, there's one of the Dukes special players, Phoenix at number 10, I think should focus more on the rugby and less on the chat. But for sure the Dukes, finally the Dukes started to show a little bit of the muscle and the sort of rugby IQ to put a team away. As you see Will Edwards here score a relatively easily try from their own half.
Yeah, I mean, with that backline that Dukes have got, they can cut you apart. Ollie coming back in the last couple of weeks has probably added to them. Probably taken a little bit of pressure off the likes of Will and Phoenix, and allow them to really unleash the backline as they can. But yeah, they can cut you apart, and that's without the likes of mentioning Mace Foots, Mina van Dongen as well, who can as we well know, Gareth, dangerous players that can really make a difference.
Oh, there we go, Daan. 3 points there for you guys.
Come on.
Yeah, I think if we have to look at, obviously it's been a tough first part of the season for the Rotterdam students, but if we have to look at the Dukes, okay, and I know it's obviously it's the big talk at the moment in Rugby Netherlands, because with a squad like that, with players like that, with an Arsenal like that, where's the demise? What's happened? How do you see this? How did it happen, in your opinion? I know it's a bit of a tough question.
Dat is een hele lastige vraag. Ik heb veel van de Dukes gezien. En het probleem bij de Dukes is dat er gewoon te weinig mensen mee rugby in het veld. En dat zie je nu in deze wedstrijd ook. Veel behandelaars. Van de 15 doen er max 10 mee. En de rest doet niet mee. En daar gaat het op verliezen. Zeker met teams als waar jullie voor het gooien. Eemland, Castricum. Volgens mij hebben ze gelijk gespeeld als Castricum volgens mij. 18.
En Haarlem, ja.
En Haarlem. Maar daar verliezen ze het op gewoon. En los van dat Ollie terug is, weet je wel, een team draait niet op één man. Dat is mijn beleving. Het draait op meerdere mensen en om de chemie in het team. En dat zijn ze een beetje kwijtgeraakt, denk ik.
Well, you could probably say that maybe too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Ja, maar daar gaat het wel om natuurlijk.
I think one man that does make a difference is Fuga.
No, definitely. I think losing him to the long-term injury that they had, and obviously spoke with Ugo a couple of weeks ago when we were down here. It looks as though he would be back, or was hoping to be back for what would have been a top 6 campaign, but he'll be back after Christmas. And I think his influence and his experience, it was a massive loss. And then again, you had Ollie's injury, which came on the last game of the season against England last year, and him missing a huge part of that first round. He came on in the second half against us, and they looked a different team when he was on there. And having those two out for a long period, as well as the changes that have probably happened in the background. Obviously, Marshall coming in as coach, it needs time to settle the squad and his ideas potentially with it. And losing 2 key players like that's never going to be easy for anyone. So maybe it was the perfect storm of unfortunate events that's led to it.
It definitely sounds like it. I don't think. Yeah.
Maar die spelers maken ook andere spelers beter.
Ja.
En dat is wel de chemie in de groep die er is dan. En dan worden de rest worden wel volgelingen, maar ze worden wel beter. Door dat aanwezigheid van Ollie en die anderen. Dan wordt de rest ook gewoon beter. En dat hebben wij vroeger met Kas gehad met Gavin Roberts. Geen geweldige speler, maar hij maakte iedereen veel beter.
Zo,
en dat was wel heel geweldig. De chemie was geweldig.
Hij was echt een geweldige speler.
Ja.
Robo,
ja, maar niet briljant, maar gewoon heel hard werken. En hij kreeg iedereen mee in zijn kielzoog.
Ja, dat is waar. I think Robo, if you have to refer to Cass under Robo, that was leadership of the highest level in the sense of buy-in. Like everyone, they were machines, and he led.
They want to die for him.
Yeah. Okay, but then Daan, so how do you guys approach these sort of big games and stuff when you're playing against teams that it's your first year in the Aero class? So what's your sort of approach? Does the team get like, oh no, again, or do you have? Is there a plan of okay, this is what we're going to do? We're going to try beat them.
Ja, natuurlijk. Nou, weet je wat het is? Kijk, ik denk dat bijna elk team misschien wel gewoon ons ziet als een vaste 5 punten. Dus we hebben eigenlijk niks te verliezen. Elke wedstrijd die we spelen, komen we toch weer opdagen gewoon met het hele team. En gaan we ook gewoon voor de winst. Het is gewoon, maakt niet uit wie we tegenover ons hebben. We beginnen elke wedstrijd gewoon met vakgasten, hoe we spelen op teamruns en dingen. We kunnen deze wedstrijd gewoon winnen. Dus ja, in dat geval is de druk is voor ons natuurlijk, die misschien voor andere teams een stuk hoger is. Kijk, wij hebben voor niemand iets te bewijzen. Eigenlijk is het voor ons al gewoon fantastisch om in de ereklasse te spelen. Maar dat neemt niet weg dat de insteek op een dinsdag of een donderdagavond of zo anders is dan andere teams. Het is niet dat wij na 1,5 uur al denken van het is mooi geweest, we gaan aan het bier. Elke dinsdag en donderdag wordt er gewoon heel serieus getraind. Zaterdag wordt ook gewoon, ook vrijdagavonden is het ook niet meer uitgaan, feesten. Ja. Het is vaker gewoon met elkaar zitten, en dan drink je 2 biertjes in plaats van dat je je kop eraf zuipt. Maar dan ga je gewoon een beetje, geen bier op vrijdag is natuurlijk ook wel, weet je, maar gewoon 2 biertjes of zo. En je gaat met elkaar gewoon een beetje lullen over de wedstrijd van morgen. Dus alles wordt wel gewoon ook heel serieus genomen. En ik denk ook dat de eerste helft van het seizoen hebben we gewoon heel erg nodig gehad om elkaar te vinden. Gewoon een paar belangrijke spelers, Matteo, een paar andere jongens die al lang op de club rondlopen zijn weggegaan. Dus met een paar nieuwe boys erin is het gewoon altijd elkaar weer even vinden. En ik merk zelf in het team ook dat dat gewoon de laatste tijd steeds beter klikt. Dus ik kijk gewoon heel erg uit naar de tweede helft van het seizoen. Om een paar wedstrijden te gaan winnen.
Heb je het gevoel dat de motivatie minder wordt of blijft die gelijk?
Nee, dat moet ik. Dat is misschien iets wat het
studenten denk ik ook.
Ja, ik denk dat dat er wel iets mee te maken heeft. Misschien niet alles, maar de motivatie is niet weg. Zo. Daar waren we wel bang voor aan het begin natuurlijk. Dat je denkt van weet je, we zijn een club en we hebben natuurlijk een aantal jaar gehad dat we ook veel wonnen en zo. En dat is leuk voor de feesten en voor het hele sfeer binnen de club. Maar nee, de motivatie is nog steeds op een top. En je merkt wel nu de afgelopen paar wedstrijden dat we wel echt uitkijken naar de tweede helft van het seizoen. Dat kan gewoon een frisse start zijn, zeg maar. En dat we nu de laatste weken echt gebruiken om zoveel mogelijk gasten te laten spelen. Zodat we echt met een topselectie kunnen beginnen aan die tweede helft van het seizoen.
No, yeah, I must say credit to you guys also because, I mean, you know, if you have that sort of students behind your name, everyone assumes, okay, you know, that this is a situation that that you guys are on the piss on the Friday nights, and I think you've done a good job to really sort of change that perception of the students.
Ja, dat is ook wat we uitstralen, maar wat we ook doen. Dus we gaan het zien wat de rest van het seizoen ons gaat brengen.
Yeah, no, okay, that's it's great stuff. I think we've got another clip here of the game. The Duke's on attack. Great carry there from Wout. He had quite a decent game on the weekend. Eh?
Zeker. Missed tackle van ons ook.
Yeah. I think he also. And here's Mambo, Nobicio Mambo.
Dan zet hij mij even, stuurt hij het bos in.
Look at this, the Mozambican Express. Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's actually a great open play try from the Dukes. But one thing is, how did you guys keep? I mean, you're never 15 on the field. I think it was yellow card after yellow card after yellow card. Huh?
I think at some point we played with 13, but for me it felt like we had the best minutes on the field with 13. This
look at the scrape break
as well. Ja. Komt Jens er nog even
Ja,
achteraan.
man, what a bump, ja. Grote vent, hè? Oh, joh.
Maar nee, we speelden volgens mij, inderdaad hebben we geen één moment bijna met 15 man gestaan. Wat alleen maar ons te blamen valt. Want het maakt niet uit of je met hoeveel je ook verliest. Gele kaart is geen excuus voor, dat is je eigen fout. Dus zeker op het gebied van discipline had het beter gekund afgelopen zaterdag.
Yeah, no, I think it was close to getting a try there. I think Gert Visser certainly was trying to give you guys more cards than Christmas cards there.
Ja. Ach, hè?
Was het terecht of niet?
Sommige van de kaarten vond ik wel terecht. Ja. Daar kon ik me wel in vinden.
Yeah. No, look, I think to come away with the result, the Dukes 61, Rotterdam Students 3. I think the game flatters the Dukes a lot more. I think there was a lot of good defensive efforts in there. I mean, at one stage you drove the Dukes back 20 meters. I think teams should definitely watch out with that. There's obviously some smart stuff going on behind the scenes there. Right. Moving on to our next game is the one you called, Mr. Mitch McGahan. Eh? Cass HRC. Massive result. HRC starting like a house on fire, 14-0 up. Big play there from Tyron Kroos. But Cass, as you say, Mats at home, look at this great hit. Dirkie Wieringa.
Yeah.
He's going to be a bit of a loss for them. Another good hit. And this is Cass at their best. This is Cass at their best. When you're coming from the outside in and all these sort of smashes that they do. So once again, Cass getting it right to the set piece. Mitch, you were talking a little bit about tactics that Cass might have used to try and stop a HRC sort of running game.
Yeah, I think they probably you have a look at the players that HRC have got available, and that backline's as dangerous as anything. especially now with Amir back, fully fit, and he brings a different dynamic to their game, and it gets the ball quickly into David's hands, and you've got Tyrone, you've got Jordi there, you've got Bjorn as well out on the wing, wide. I think Cass probably looked at trying to rush that channel and give David as less time on the ball as he could. Sometimes it can be difficult because players like David, they can create time for themselves with the experience and the class that he's got. So it's a difficult task, but it's one that you've probably got to stick to for 80 minutes. And by all accounts, that's what Castrican did.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Amir Arnemark as just behind as a 9, he just makes such a difference to this team. And if you think about it, you've still got JC van Kampen coming back, Siem Norman coming back. You've got to think that HRC are definitely one of the teams that are going to be challenging hard for the title again this year under Hadley.
No, I definitely think so. Rumours of JC's brother coming back as well, potentially.
Kai, he's great.
That again, another wonderful player, and you mentioned a couple who have been out injured long term. Yes, there's probably been a little bit of a change in style that's probably taken a little bit of time for them to adapt. Obviously, with Tyrone coming in and maybe some heavier forwards as well, but. Definitely with the talent and potential that they've got, you can't be sleeping on HRC come the second round.
No, and I mean, Daan, HRC is a derby match for you guys, hè?
Ja, dat is Michiel en Barro, die hebben het er al lang over. Die kunnen niet uit, die kunnen niet lang genoeg wachten. Dus dat brengt misschien net dat extra beetje motivatie om onze beste game te brengen tegen die gasten.
Ja. Yeah, and Mats, obviously you seeing those sort of pictures, Cass at home against HRC, obviously, but a split feelings there. I mean, your new home against your
always a little bit split feeling.
Yeah.
Ja, ik bedoel toch na 52 jaar lidmaatschap. Dat is toch niet niks. Ik bedoel, zo'n halve eeuw.
Now there's a famous picture of you in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not much taller. Yeah, you're still not that tall, but. As a kid there, standing in the mud, that's the closest you've been to mud, I think, as a backline player.
Dat is de slechtste grap die ik ooit hoorde.
No, Mats' claim to fame is that you won the toss against England in that World Cup qualifier.
Exactly.
That's it, mate. But no, carrying on with the Cass game, and this moving into the second half. Now it's 14-7. And I think Jort's had a fantastic season for Cass so far. He's been...
Jort is
Jort
is great. Jort is geweldig.
Yeah. I think his running game is... he's been... he can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And I think they neutralised the kicking threat from HRC. And that was a big difference. I think at the end of the day, HRC didn't dominate with the boot as much as they have in the past. Huh?
No, with the back three.
I mean, look at that clearance; it's fantastic. I mean, that's massive.
I think with the back three that Cass have got, he's been pretty special this year for them, and obviously been rewarded with his performances with a couple of selections for Delta and probably in Lindsay for those games in February. You can't give him time on the ball. You can't give him space because he's a danger. Oh, here we go. Bit of handbags.
Nothing like a side entry from a Kiwi, eh? Yeah, Richie McCaw all day.
Ooh, look at that, yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was interesting, yeah.
No wonder he reacted the way he did.
Yeah, look, I think some interesting handbags there.
Shock Twiggy number 6 there, running away from the scuffle.
It's always lovely watching rugby players these days. Everyone runs in and then talks to each other.
Ja.
Yeah, with all the cameras.
Wat ik niet begrijp met de driekwart die hij geeft, dat ze de bal zoveel schoppen, joh.
Ja.
Onbegrijpelijk.
No, yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I mean, obviously with the weather, you would think that. I mean, that is a big thing that's come into Dutch rugby lately, is the kicking game.
Ja.
Kick chase. We know your opinion on that.
I hate it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Ik vind het vreselijk. Ik vind het vreselijk om te zien.
Ja?
Vreselijk, ja.
So you would rather see teams hold the ball in hand?
Ja, maar wat je nu ziet, we kijken naar de ball in play. Hoe meer we schoppen, hoe meer de ball in play is. Ja, dat begrijp ik. Dat je nog beter scoort op ball in play. Maar als het op aankomt de laatste 10 minuten om 15, je staat achter met 15-12 en dan nog te scoren, dan kunnen we het niet meer. Want we hebben de hele wedstrijd niet gedaan. Dus laten we gewoon meer met de bal in handen rennen.
Ja.
Want zo leiden we onze kinderen ook op, denk ik. Op de academies. Toch?
Ja.
Dat wat we willen zien. En dat is wel onze identiteit. En dat vind ik belangrijk, dat we onze eigen identiteit creëren. Zo met ball in hand.
I think that's interesting. Like, yeah, what is the Dutch identity? I mean, if you think about the philosophy of
Daar zouden we met z'n allen over moeten praten, denk ik ook. Wat is onze identiteit als
poldermodel. Poldermodel.
Poldermodel, ja.
Ja, poldermodel.
We love to discuss.
Yeah.
No, I think it's...
But I think it's an interesting question. Like, what I mean, you know, obviously everyone here at the table has been involved in rugby here in the country for a long time. So, you know, now we are moving to more of a defensive kick chase sort of play in the right areas, whereas, you know, in the past we've sort of tried to be more, the Dutch are very athletic, so yeah.
I think it's probably finding the right balance with everything. You can't run the ball too much. If teams know that about you, they're going to set their defensive traps for you. You can't kick the ball too much, because if teams know that, then they're going to look to counter-attack and try and expose you as much as you can. So it's finding the right balance between everything.
Maybe Mitch, don't kick the tee.
No, you definitely don't kick the tee. Not an open field anyway.
Or JC.
It is finding the right balance, and I think you're seeing in World Rugby now it's more of a defensive game. You have a look at the World Cup. As much as it breaks my heart to bring it up again, with Gareth standing next to me, South Africa employed that kick chase model, and they're very, very good at it. And they wait for opportunities to present themselves, or teams to make mistakes. It needs accurate kicking. It probably needs a little bit more coaching.
Well, there is a bit of attacking prowess in there. I mean,
yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, look, I think it definitely is going that way. But saying that, Rotterdam students, you have a policy that you're actually not allowed to kick the ball.
Nou, zo min mogelijk kan ik je vertellen. Nou, we hadden vorig
Hoe
jaar
leuk is dat?
Ja, nee, ik ben ook altijd...
Nou, vorige weekend met alle ballen gekikt.
Maar het is we hadden vorig jaar natuurlijk ook Matteo, die kon waanzinnig kicken. Dus dan pas je daar ook je spel op aan. Maar nee, ja, ik speel zelf, en dat was hier bij de Jukes, dat was bij de Rotterdamse studenten, is dat hetzelfde. Het liefst ook zoveel mogelijk gewoon met de bal in de handen. Als je de bal niet hebt, kun je niet scoren. Dus ja, liever in de handen houden.
Ja.
Eigenlijk iemand die het met me eens is.
Oh, nou, eindelijk iemand. So here we go, moving into the last sort of phase, and this is where Cass really turned it on, eh? And they were into a try, great physical, a little celebration there as well, sliding past.
Ja, ik vind het mooi dat Wok ook weer terug is.
Yeah, Mark Walker, always good, the Viking.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting that HRC in the first half had the advantage in the scrum, but in the second half, Cass just came out and dominated.
Yeah, I mean, Cass have got a big heavy pack. We played them the week before. That, you know, they're a pretty good scrummaging side. And
They make a lot of mistakes against you.
Yeah, they did. But I think the one thing with Cass is when they've had a performance like that so far this year, they've bounced back. I think their biggest disappointment, if you speak to their coaching staff and the boys, was when they lost at home to Haarlem in a big Northwest derby. They went the next week down to Hoy and turned Hoy over. So, you know, they had a disappointing performance against us. I had a feeling that, you know, they would bounce back, particularly playing at home. And by all accounts, it came down to the final 5 minutes when Cass kind of took the game away there.
Controversial moment, advantage for the penalty. And then, yeah, HRC having the chance to snatch it away from Cass. But yeah, interesting that they weren't able to finish it off. I mean, that close to the poles, penalty advantage. There, what comes into your mind there? Do you hold on to the ball, or do you take the risk and go for the cross kick and try to score that try as quickly as possible?
Depending on what your strengths are. I know if that was Ameland, we'd be trying to get the ball dead as soon as we can, so we could go to a set
Well, I mean,
piece.
if there was Ameland at the scrum, I think you would keep it in at the scrum, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, everyone should watch Robbie Kutsia's illegal scrumming though. I mean, it's a bit... has to work on his mobility and flexibility there, I think.
Apparently that's been the chat this week. Up at the stadium, Robbie was told needs a little bit more flexibility in his life.
But interesting stats here from Castricum Haagse. As you can see, outscoring them 3 tries to 2. Interesting Cass having the territory and the possession.
Yeah, normally you tend to find one of those is a little bit lower, particularly, if Cass are employing a kicking game, you'd expect the territory to be high and the possession to be a little bit lower, but to be over 55% in both of those, very, very interesting. Makes for interesting reading.
Massive improvement from last week. Cass, 104 mistakes or errors last week.
Errors, yeah.
This week, 35. I mean, that's like day and night.
Yeah, no.
That's coaching. That's coaching out the top drawer in 2 sessions.
Potentially it is. But yeah, look, as I said, after a big disappointment so far this year, Cass have always bounced back and going back to where they're their strongest and at home. It was always going to be a tough day at the office, and they were always going to improve. That's one thing you can say about Cass.
Yeah.
They bounce back quite well.
I think interesting stat is that 71% of the lineouts were contested. Okay, now if you look at it, where most of your tries scored from?
Well, that's from your set piece.
So from your set piece, but mostly from lineouts. And I think this is an area where, if you look at HRC, if you can make them jump in certain areas, if you can push them away, can you stifle a team's attack? Can you really put a hold on it? I mean, even though they're still 111 out of their 14 lineouts. If you're able to stop a team from getting clean ball from the lineout, maul them, or defend them more well, is that something that teams are looking at? Because I am noticing that there's a lot of teams in the era cluster that are competing against other lineouts.
I think Hag really competed the lineout quite well. They've got pretty clever operators in there. It's probably about giving them their least favourite ball with the backline that they've got. You don't really want them having the ball off the tail and getting into the likes of Jordy Hop and Tyrone Cruz front football. You probably want that ball in air, give them the front kind of mentality and make that ball travel in the air just a little bit longer to give your defence time to set. So potentially teams are looking at that and looking to employ that against HRC.
Well, you really don't want to play HRC in an open play sort of game, do you?
Nee,
Mats?
Nee, wat ik wel merk, dat als je kijkt naar de ruckspeed met Castricum, als ze die kunnen verhogen, zeker met de spelers...
Maar wil je snel spelen tegen Haagse? Of wil je langzaam spelen?
Ja, voorwaarts zijn beren traag vandaag. They're pretty slow on defending de blinde kant. So, ik zou graag snelle ballen tegen Den Haag willen spelen met de voorwaarts die ze hebben.
Ja.
Ze zijn groot, maar niet echt mobiel.
Yeah, but all right. So the final score there, obviously the shock of the week, according to everyone here at Hettersweer, which was predicting that Cass would lose this game but get a bonus point, a losing bonus point, and it was the other way around. So Cass winning at home 19-14 against Haagse. Haagse getting the losing bonus point. So the next game we're going to have a look at is obviously it was played in the mud of Haarlem. Haarlem versus Gooi, and I think that's the next one we're going to have a look at here. As we can see, our first scrum of the game. Interesting game. I really find it interesting that they have an artificial pitch but decided to play on the grass pitch.
They obviously backed themselves on the forwards against you guys.
Good finish from Daan, the Mooi boy.
Is Kwame playing?
No, Kwame has got an injury, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think this sort of weather suits the Gooi pack as well. But I mean, the field was really tough to play on. I mean, it was credit to all the players and the referee. I tell you, she did a fantastic job. I must say, Catherine and her team of 3, really interesting. 11 penalties per side. It's probably the lowest for her this season.
Yeah, I mean,
Dat is goed hoor.
Ja.
Maar zij hebben toch ook gewoon een kunstgrasveld?
Ja.
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 Dat was,
30 meter verderop.
Wij hebben daar gespeeld, toen was het veld niet eens de helft van hoe het er nu uitziet.
no, there was some tactical advantage of playing on this field.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work out.
A strange one given that most people would look at Goi's team and think their pack's their strongest point. Why would you want to give them, and give them an advantage in playing on a field like this where it tends to lend itself to that type of rugby is a strange one.
Good run there. I think it was Dan Jones. But yeah, I think it was a shame that we didn't play on the artificial, because I think it was horrendous weather. it would have been nicer for the crowd as well. Maybe not as nice for the crowd because at least they could stand in the clubhouse now. Maybe that was the reason.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, and quite interesting, we didn't have that many yellow cards. I think it was one each. But yeah, there wasn't many, and this is Carlos Roberts' try.
Well,
pretty simple, straightforward.
Plenty of feeling, no doubt, given Chris's return back to Haarlem and his first game outing at Hoy.
I must say, I expected a little bit more spice. But I think that was drowned out after the first try in the first couple of minutes. And also, if you're going backwards like this all day, I don't think you have much energy to... But I must say, there were some nice hits on him. Joris Smits and Rembrandt gave him a nice welcome back to Haarlem. But no, it was actually a game played in good spirits. But yeah, in this sort of game, I mean, lucky we had prepared the whole week for wet weather, so we had just basically decided to keep it short and piston and not worry too much about trying to go wide. As you can see here, just pistoning in the middle of the park, which is not ideal, but at the end of the day, it was get the job done, and that's what it was all about.
I mean, credit to you to get 5 points on a mud bath or in a mud bath and keep Haarlem scoreless for the majority of the game. Speaks more probably to the quality that you guys have got coming back into the at the right time of the season.
Yeah, no, I think a good try going wide. Mats would like that a bit wider for you, Mats.
Goed try.
Yeah.
Zeker met de omstandigheden, goede handen, dus ja, prima.
Yeah, so obviously now Haarlem also probably not going to make it into the top 6. So, how do we see Haarlem going, or where do we see Haarlem going from here? Good try from Berend de Graaf. How do we see that going?
It'll be interesting. Obviously, a couple of the boys are heading off to Australia for a bit of overseas rugby experience in Joris and Vessel, I believe. But yeah, I mean, you got to say what would be the ambition, the motivation for a side that's been in the top 6 for the last few years, or in their short span in the header classes so far. What are they looking to do? Maybe they look to reset and rebuild with some of their youth and some of the younger players. Who knows? But
well, I mean, he's a youngster. His father played for Gooi, Friese Horsmeyer. His young son, he scored 2 tries against the Oysters and then finished the game scoring against us. So he's only 18 years old, so interesting talent there as well. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how Haarlem carry on there.
It'll be strange as well to see someone who's had the storied career of Storm Carroll to be playing in a bottom 6. I'm sure he is not used to playing at that kind of a standard. He's normally fighting out for championships. So it'll be interesting to see what the motivation is.
Yeah, maybe time to get into his coaching.
He's doing really, really well. Obviously, he's been with the 18s and had a massive impact there, as we saw over in Prague with their team. Maybe he is starting to slowly move towards his coaching. So this could be the chance where you see more of him on the sideline, coaching and influencing the younger guys than playing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think. Obviously now moving on to our last game, the last game that we have footage of, but what we're going to be doing on the show from now on is every week we're going to be doing a little insert called Coach's Corner, and that's why Mitch is on the show this week, just to talk us through a bit about the tactics that you used against the Hookers, but also to show the software that you use as well in terms of giving your players the best opportunity to prepare for the game. Mm-hmm. So this week's Coach's Corner is Ameland versus Hookers, and hopefully every week we'll be able to do this to at least one game of the weekend where we'll go into in-depth analysis with the coach from the previous weekend and try get their thoughts behind it. So Mitch, you're going to take us away here?
Obviously Hookers flying really, really well so far this year. Previewed them, we had a look, their set pieces has been one of their strengths. They've been going to it to establish themselves and assert some dominance in some games. So we knew we had to be on the ball with our set piece ourselves to try and put pressure on them and pressure their set piece, see if we could nick a few and put some pressure on their scrum. But also with their defence, they're very, very disciplined with their folds and getting round and trying to offer width on the open side. So we we worked a bit during the week, and it probably lent itself even more so to the conditions to try and trap them in the middle of the park. As you see here, we're going back and forth, playing off 9, playing off 10, but majority of the time playing between the 15s and holding possession.
Because just going to pause it there. What's the benefit of going back and forth, so pistoning as we call it, or?
What you're trying to do is you're trying to get the sides and play on their defensive policy. So depending on whether it's off 9, whether play's coming off 9 or a 10, they might fold 3, they might fold 4 to the open side of the park to try and get numbers up. Everything's always trying to get a numerical advantage, whether on attack or defence. And hookers are very, very disciplined and do it very well, where they get numbers to the open side of the park very, very quickly. So what we were trying to do here is trying to stuff up those folds, for want of a better term. I think, as you can see here on this one, we've managed to isolate 5 players defending a 15, but we've got no one in there.
Yeah, that's interesting. So no one outside the 15 from this side, from Aimland. That's interesting. And obviously, that's all so trapped, as you would call it.
Yeah, we look to set that trap and put them where we would like to have them as far as an attack. We've gone through a number of phases here and worked our way up the pitch, and it's taken time, and sometimes it does take time to be able to pull these off. But yeah, we've managed to get 5 there on the short side, and then on this next carry, as you'll see, we've managed to get close to 8 or 9 of them.
So now you've trapped 8 or 9 after one phase. So now, basically by doing the pistoning, you've stopped them from folding because they think they're between the 15s, no one has to fold.
Yeah.
Stay in your zone.
Yeah.
And then you're basically going to stack, yeah?
Yeah, and then, off this, obviously, the spaces open up. Logan's looked to dash through. If we pause it there, off that phase, Hooker's got back in and the 9s turned Logan over there, but you can see they've only got 3 on the open side there, and the majority of our back line looking to sweep round off that next phase.
So ideally you want to be going around the corner there with a sort of stacked attack maybe, or something,
and try
into those last 2 hooker defenders where you should probably have about 5 against 2.
Yeah.
And that should be quick ball there.
Hopefully, yeah. So if we played through the forwards again and gotten that, Logan probably would have pushed and been in that first receiver, and we would have been able to push into that wide channel and look to exploit.
Nice.
So it does take time sometimes, and it's creating those pictures throughout the game.
So much. I mean, just to bring you in here. I mean, you're obviously hearing now Mitch how he's sort of planned this out and worked it out. Like, how do you is your approach sort of similar to this, or?
No, I love to play kind of the same way, but wat ik wel zie bij de hoekers, they don't have a clue what they're doing. Sorry dat ik het zo even zeg, maar we doen niet 5 man in godsnaam op de blinde kant.
Ja, maar als je moe bent.
Ja, als je moe bent. Maar wat ik wel zie, en hier vanuit zou ik wel naar de blinde gaan, maar je hebt toch nog veel wandelaars lopen. A lot of guys are walking. En ik vind het goed wat je ziet, want je ziet vaak ook bij opleg zie je ook steeds meer hitting midfield en links en rechts is gewoon open, weet je. Maar sommige Nederlandse jongens zijn er nog niet klaar voor.
Ja.
En it's kind of a mindset.
But I think that's why you have these sort of coaches coming in now to try to bring this sort of knowledge and information. I mean, we carry on now. And Mitch, yourself playing a 10 there, trying to bring out the old 9 wood there.
Yeah, obviously. Unfortunately,
is that a wooden staff?
Close enough to it. By this stage, no. Peter pulled out sick the morning of the game, and I've been struggling with it all week. So I mentally prepared myself that I'd probably be having to play, and stepped in. But yeah, as I said, we were looking to try and put pressure on Hooker's set piece. We know a set piece of ours is a relative strength, and the boys did really well. The likes of Monty and Niels, but then also working with Max to identify, what Hooker's line-out was doing and where we could put pressure on. Robbie could see her cleaning up there.
I'm surprised he didn't try kick it.
He put in one ripper of a kick earlier in the game. He tried to put one on later, to which I believe Francis Appleton was running after going, why did he kick it? And Kuhn was refereeing and said, I bloody don't know either. So there was a few surprises to see a hooker kicking. But hey, the modern game.
So there's that sort of stacked and then coming around the side, eh? Logan again, eh? And unfortunately, is Logan
Yeah, Logan's. That was his last game on Saturday. He'd be heading back to New Zealand with his partner. Sometimes that happens when struggle to settle and things like that. So he's been heading back and catch a Kiwi Christmas before I think he's heading back to Australia to look for work.
But I mean, this is Aimland's bread and butter, really. I mean, a nice physical, clinical game, phase play, keep the ball alive, but just keep the defence tackling.
Heel zakelijk.
Yeah, it can be tough having to defend non-stop against bigger guys. So yeah, we knew we had we've got big carriers within our side, but fully utilise them. But here again, so similar as you'd seen earlier in the game, that we played a lot in the 15s.
And that's planned, though.
It's planned, so we're 52 minutes in here, although the scoreboard did tick out because I was looking to come off at about 65 and it stayed at 52 for a really long time. But I think we pause here and you see again that the widest defender sat on the 15 now because we've done so much playing between the 15s. They've started to narrow their defence, and again on the short side there, we've got a number of carriers, and they're seeing the same kind of pictures that they've seen throughout the game, and they have to defend our forwards, and they've left numbers there, which has left space for us to go and attack as play kind of continues.
So there's that line there that you've used to show that, yeah?
Yeah. So as we go here, we've got 3 attackers there, but we've also got one a little bit wider, and we're able to push into that wide channel. And then a kick and a chase, and again after defending and now having to turn and run back, the guy makes a mistake and carrying the ball back over to give us a 5-metre scrum.
Yeah, so I mean the thought process behind this is they have to defend a shitload, then you kick it, or you get into that space, turn them, kick it, they put it down over the line, carry it back over. Now you have to scrum against the biggest scrum in the comp.
Yeah, that's the idea. Sometimes it's. As much as we'd like to throw the ball around and kill teams with our attack, sometimes you have to go and the conditions lent to it on Saturday, and against a physical hookers pack, you don't want to be side to side against them.
But again, I think if you're playing Aimland and you're the forward coach, you're saying, listen, we need all 8 in the scrum. So 5 metres from your own line. All 8 have to keep their heads in, have to keep their shoulders on. That means attacking around the scrum is really a good option.
Yeah, definitely. And as play continues in here, Mika does really, really well. Obviously, the threats of Logan and Nick Lake outside of, the defenders have marked up on them, and Mika's found a bit of space and been able to.
Have you had a great season, little Mika?
Yeah, look, Mika's a talented player. He had a particularly bad injury a couple of years ago, and obviously I've known Mika for a long time, even when I was over in England, kept in contact with the Zetzimers and would see them regularly when we come back. And he's developed into a hell of a player. And this year we're probably starting to see his best. And having a wonderful season, whether that be at 9 or at 10.
Yeah, no, he's a
Goeie speler.
versatile player.
Goeie speler. Ook een leuke gozer.
So Daan, when you see this sort of analysis and stuff like this, or let's just stop it there. If you see these sort of analysis and stuff like this, is this stuff that really intrigues you as a player? And
ja,
leuk?
natuurlijk. Ik weet dat, kijk, ik speel nu 4 jaar bij de Rotterdam Studenten, 4 jaar onder Michiel en Barro, dus zeg maar, die hebben ook weer een hele eigen manier van spelen. Dus het is ook wel leuk om een keer wat van een andere coach te horen hoe zijn view erop is. Maar ja, nee, ik denk overal, weet je, kijk, met dit weer is eigenlijk, volgens mij gaat elke coach wel gauw naar een tactiek met niet te veel lange passes, niet te veel. De sites opzoeken, dat wordt gewoon lastig. Dus binnen de 15 spelen en zo, dat doen jullie uitstekend. Je ziet het met die overlap en zo.
So Mitch, what's this sort of Picasso happening here?
Yeah, I mean, we've come off our own 5. We've worked a lot on our kick chase and putting pressure on teams without transitioning from attack to defence. Obviously, we were able to win the race, as we call it, and get the majority of our bodies back into the defensive line before Hook were able to, and it's forced an error with a good hit from Francis. And now again, we're seeing that the pictures that we've painted throughout the game. With our big forwards carrying, they've narrowed up. We've caught them on an edge here. We've got it looks like 9 or 10 players.
You've trapped like 9 or 10 players there.
Yeah, on the inside, and we've got 3 big forwards there, but we've spotted the space out wide, and we've been disciplined and held our width within our backs, and we're able to find space and work it, and then support the break as well. And Bam getting over for his 11th try of the season.
Yeah, I must say impressive there. So, I mean, there again, you're pistoning and banging in the middle, and then all of a sudden turnover and you move it to the sides. Yeah. I think you're messing with most defences' heads here in the sense of it's great transition play.
Yeah, and that's it. You've got to find, rugby's all about finding more than one way to break down defences, whether it's through big heavy forward packs or quick, lightning quick backs. You've got to have that balance, as I spoke about earlier. You can't be too lopsided to one way, I don't think. And we're lucky enough that with the squad that we've got and the depth and breadth of players that we've got, that we can do both.
Absolutely, but I also think the quality of analysis and coaching makes a big difference as well. It helps you to prepare for a game, doesn't it? And I think that's a fantastic example. Thanks very much for that, Mitch. And I think that's the coach's corner sort of idea behind it. And hopefully every week we can do something similar using the same sort of software to get that across. But just to give you that result, Hoek van Holland, Ameland, it was 3-27 to Ameland. Away from home, 5-point win, which is a great. I don't think the Hookers have been that comprehensively beaten in the Hook. So that was a great performance. Last game, which we don't have any footage of, but we do have some stats for it, is the D-Hook. Oysters, yeah. And I think what's interesting here is if we look at the stats, 50.5% territory, 49.5% territory, 49.5 possession, 50.5 territory, 70 errors, 69 errors. And then obviously the line-out contest is a little bit different, but that's quite interesting that they were, one had the possession, one had the territory by 0.5%, but then also errors very close. But then the big thing is the score, 43-7.
Yeah.
What do we put that down to, Mats?
Difficult.
But does this say that stats are not everything?
Blijkbaar.
Ja.
Blijkbaar, dit is niet het ei van Columbus nog. Je ziet dat gewoon, scoren 43 punten, zijn dus ook wel die 43 punten op de helft van Oysters. Oysters heeft similar ook dezelfde aanval bij Duke, maar scoren blijkbaar niet. Terwijl ik Oysters ook best wel een hele goede club vind ook. Altijd verrassend leuke jongens ook, willen ook rennen met de bal. Maar ik vind het heel bijzonder dat alles gelijk is, maar 43-7.
Ja.
Potentially a lot of counter-attacking tries, defensive errors being forced, and maybe Diok springing from deep or forcing those and being able to put it away for maximum points.
Well, I mean, Gareth Davies was here last week, and he was very clear that they were going to go for it. And you had that sort of feeling that Diok were, in that sort of mood. And when you play a Diok, just like Cass, Diok at home is just like Cass at home. If you catch them on the wrong day there, they'll put you away.
Yeah.
And I think you just saw that sort of hunger in their play.
Ja, maar je ziet het vaker met die stats, want we hebben je zou het misschien niet zeggen, maar ook wel wedstrijden gehad waar wij ook met ball possession, territory ook op de 50 à 60% zaten soms. En dat we gewoon 60 punten verschil eraf gaan. Ja, weet je, het gebeurt. Je moet uiteindelijk bij rugby gewoon scoren om te winnen.
Yeah. So just to wrap it all up after this weekend's results, this is the table at the moment. Rotterdam at the top. And then the red line there was put in there by Eric. I don't know why it's red, but yeah, top 6. This is what his prediction is, that this will be the top 6 and the bottom 6. And I think the last time the Dukes won the plate or played in the plate, I think it's nailed somewhere to a ceiling here. So yeah, I think they're going to take it seriously.
If like I said, I think we're all aligned in thinking that the 6 as it stands will be the top 6, and the 6 below will be the bottom 6. And you'd have to say Dukes would be favourites for that with the firepower that they've got. I'm sure Diok and Haarlem will have something to say. But yeah, you'd be looking at those. You'd be looking at it.
Don't forget Daan. Yeah, Daan's giving you that look.
No, look, I think Rotterdam students, I remember speaking with Borough after we played them at our place and having a beer with them, and they were saying, the bottoms, the first round would be a learning curve for them, and in the second round you'd probably see them come into their own and have a little bit of an idea, and they'd be settled.
Zij gaan wedstrijden winnen in de tweede ronde.
No, I think they will. I think the games against Breda and Oysters have been relatively tight. And who knows, with what could happen at Haarlem, could there be an upset there as well? So I think it's all to play for.
All we know is that if the Dukes don't win that, I think Eric will not be a happy man. No, I think we might have to bring out something bigger than this. Maybe.
Potentially.
But yeah, look, moving on, just before we go into the break, very important, a nice little advert. If you haven't got a subscription yet for Beer, Bloed and Modder, you've got to get in there. Some interesting articles, some great stories about not only about the Ereklasse, but about rugby in general in the Netherlands. If you haven't got someone a Christmas gift yet, please make sure you get in touch with Beer, Bloed and Modder and get your subscription. Right, gents, that's brought us to the end of the first part of the show. Obviously, the next part of the show is the exciting bit in terms of predicting the tomorrow night, Daan. I can see you've been hydrating there with the beer as well, which we'll keep filling for you, no problem. But ladies and gents, thanks very much for watching the first part. We'll be right back with you shortly. Don't go away too soon. But we have a little trick here for you. You ready, boys?
Yeah.
Millie, set. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second part of Het is weer Rak, episode 9, season 2. Same panel still with us, except Eric has left the building officially. Merry Christmas and see you later. But just to send him off in a good style, I think this is a great way to start the second half of the show. Biggest hit of the weekend, Wout and Wijnand. But Daan?
Ja, goede tackle. Meer kan ik niet zeggen. Beer is een zware jongen, ik weet het. Dus met z'n tweeën leggen ze hem volledig op zijn rug.
Now, some might say that's a good South African shoulder there.
Wijnand zit wat aan de hoge kant.
Yeah, no, I think Gert Visser, look, you can either have him looking around the shoulder like, what should I do? Hey, what do you think, your double hit there?
Yeah, good double, but maybe a bit of South African preference, and he kept the cards in the pocket. Just saying.
Hey, I mean, it seemed like he wanted to give you guys cards a lot, but that could have been one. But solid hit from Wout and Wijnand. Another one here, Amir taken out. And then
on the next one.
I think the next one as well. And this is Dirkie Weringa, and then another one now as well. I think this is Ethan Roy, huh?
Oof. Blindsided.
Great little tackle there. Some big hits resulting in turnovers. Great start to the second part of the show, gents. Just another one as well, just to quickly go through the team of the week for the Ereklasse. Seems like you have to lose games to get into this team.
A couple of interesting ones on how they come up with it. Pleased to see that Niels and Mika have made their way in. Their performances on the weekend definitely warrant being in there.
I think the Dukes will be happy as well with a couple of players there, but obviously they definitely deserve that after having comprehensive win. Interesting selection. It'll be interesting to find out how they work this all out.
Ja, waar is het op gebaseerd?
Ja, ik weet niet. And this is the future team. Interesting algorithm behind this is that there was only one game. Well, there were two games, but one wasn't filmed, so I think it's Diok against Dukes.
A wild guess.
Yeah, a wild guess. Team of the week, Diok versus Dukes. But hopefully this is what we can do every week, bring the team of the week. And hopefully next week, the next time we have the show, we will have a bit of better understanding of how this all works. Yeah? Okay, gents, so obviously the end of the year, this weekend is an in-hole weekend. Delta playing in the last game of the season for Delta against Bohemian from Prague. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think all the teams are here in Amsterdam. Lusitanos are playing Brussels Devils here in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And then the last one's
that'll be, was it Romania?
I think it's Romania. Yeah.
Romania and the...
Check how well informed we are. Anyway, this is about the Ereklasse. Right, Daan, eh? It's about the Ereklasse. So the big one tomorrow. Yeah, if you're not... I really love the name of this sport park. Bosom.
A student must have come up with that.
Zuid. Rotterdam Studenten tegen Gooi.
Ja, nee, zoals ik eerder al zei, heel excited voor de wedstrijd. Ja, het gaat wel te voor natuurlijk om in 48 uur 2 potten te spelen. Maar ja, we hebben een brede selectie. En voor elke man die uitvalt staat iemand klaar om in te vallen. Dus ik denk dat het 2 mooie potten worden.
Ja, en your prediction?
Ja, 2 keer Rotterdam Studenten uiteraard. We gaan het zien. Nee, ja, kijk, als ik eerlijk moet zijn, ja, kijk, het zijn 2 fantastische teams waar we tegen moeten spelen. Dus voor nu kan ik alleen maar zeggen dat we het uiterste eruit moeten gaan halen. En,
as you said, you've got nothing to lose, eh?
Ja, daarom.
And I think people should not underestimate you.
Nee.
Don't underestimate Rotterdam Students.
Dat sowieso niet. Ik denk dat elk puntje dat we weg kunnen snoepen van het team zal een overwinning voor ons kan zijn. Dus zoals we eerder al zeiden, kleine rugby is het bij het vieren van kleine overwinningen.
Ja.
Wat?
Ja, het is lastig om... Ja, ik denk dat Gooi en Kassel wel gaan winnen. Maar ik hoop met name dat Rotterdam dat ze binnen die 48 uur heel blijven.
No, I think you've also got to take into account that you have to travel on a Thursday night to Rotterdam to get there to kick off at 8 o'clock, straight from work. The students, like you said, Daan, you've been resting on the bank the whole day.
Ja, nee, kijk, dat is het voordeel aan het studeren. Hè. Dat is het doen alsof je aan het studeren bent. Wij liggen de rest van de week de hele dag op de bank.
Meen je dat nou?
Dan kun je gewoon een paar potten wat sneller achter elkaar spelen. Maar nee, ik ben het wel eens. Ja, het wordt zwaar. Het wordt een zware week. Zeker met het afgelopen weekend. Ik weet dat een paar gasten daar ook nog een beetje de kleine pijntje nog wel van voelen. Maar ja, ik heb het volste vertrouwen in dat we er gewoon succesvol doorheen gaan.
Ik denk dat dat het belangrijkste is.
Mitch, your prediction for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think... Sorry, Dan, I think Gooi will take the 5 points. Interesting one, though, for you. How do you prepare the team knowing like they're coming straight from work, going down, maybe sitting in traffic for an hour or so, depending on where they're coming from? Is it something that you've spoken about during the week, or?
Yeah, look, I think what we definitely discussed on Tuesday was complacency, and also we needed to have a sharp session on Tuesday, which it was. It was a short and sharp session with a nice dinner together afterwards. But also, I think the boys understand that these are the 2 games that we targeted, as peak moments in our season. So the boys, they've been very clinical against Haarlem. They did really well, and I think, we've spoken about it, we've trained it. Hopefully, there's no complacency tomorrow, but you never know. That's the tough part with the travelling, with having to work the whole day and then get out there. I think that is a leveler. Also, there's a referee who's making his debut in the Ereklasse tomorrow. Although you've got 2 strong ARs with Catherine and Koen, I believe, but I think that as well. A lot of pressure on him as a youngster coming into the Ereklasse. So look, you never know. Eh?
Yeah.
But how do you prepare for it? I don't think I've really answered the question, other than hopefully that our training is going to stick.
Yeah, no, cool. And not affected by any Delta selections?
No, we only have 1 Delta selection, so that should not affect us too much. No.
Nice.
Right, then obviously Rotterdam Kas on the weekend. Mats, you want to quickly go through that?
Ja.
Kas away, different team, eh?
Different team, always different. Ik denk dat Kas het nog lastig kan krijgen bij Rotterdam Studenten, maar met de juiste focus zou het geen probleem moeten zijn. Maar je weet ook wat weersomstandigheden zijn.
Also, if Rotterdam get a win on Thursday and the confidence is high, and then they just do the double, bang bang.
Ik denk dat die wedstrijd van morgen leidend kan zijn voor zaterdag.
Ja.
Als jullie in een goede mode zitten, dan...
Ja, dat is... Kijk, we zijn nog steeds een beetje... het begint nu wel, vind ik, en dat merken we andere gasten in het team ook en de trainers ook. Het begint wel echt te klikken. Ja. Dus we beginnen elkaar steeds beter te vinden. En wat ik eerder ook al zei, het gaat er gewoon uiteindelijk om. Kijk, die punten moeten op het bord komen. Dus je kan een goede wedstrijd spelen. Maar we moeten echt meer tries gaan scoren. Dus ja, er zal een wedstrijd moeten de eerste zijn om daarmee te beginnen. Dus wie weet dit weekend.
Ja. Maar jullie hoeven niet, hè? Zij moeten.
Ja.
And that's it. The pressure, is definitely reversed there. Mitch?
No, I think Castor are probably in a good place riding high after a big victory at home. They'll probably know that let's get the job done and secure our top
And
6.
certainly not make 104 errors.
No, I don't think so. Although, we keep saying you never know that. We can't claim it or you can't say that it's a win until the game happens. But I'm sure they'll be looking to try and put the final nail in Dukes' coffin, so to speak.
And then the last fixture of 2023 in the era cluster that we'll talk about is Breda against Haagse. Now, this is a bit of a, how would you call it? Not so much a derby, but it's the southern, sort of. There's no love lost between these two teams.
Ik denk dat Den Haag nog niet gewonnen heeft daarom.
Ja?
Ik denk dat Breda is, kijk, Den Haag heeft een brede selectie. Ze hebben veel blessures op dit moment. Met name in de backline. En met de juiste mindset bij Breda. Ik denk dat voor Ronald ook wel zijn gelijk willen halen, denk ik. Maar Ronald is natuurlijk een Hagenees. Dus ja, ik denk dat voor hem wel een derby is.
Yeah, and I also believe they've got someone in there working on their scrums as well. My good friend Marcello, I believe, has been helping out there with the sort of scrums and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting.
Ah, okay.
Interesting.
But you say Breda over HRC. Did I hear you right?
Ja.
Ja, je gaat voor Breda?
Ja, ik ga voor Breda.
Here we go.
No. Mats Marcker putting his money where his mouth is. Sorry,
Krijg je dat al?
what's that saying? Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, something like that.
Daan?
Ik ga toch voor Haagse, moet ik zeggen.
Ja.
Ik denk dat de Breda wel, als ze de beste game brengen, dat ze wel zeker dat het een tough wedstrijd kan worden. Maar ik denk toch dat Haagse aan het langste eind gaat trekken.
Ja.
Ja, ik denk Breda heeft wel wat energie gehad het afgelopen weekend tegen Rotterdam. Dat hebben ze goed gedaan. Het waren maar 28 punten.
Yeah.
Ja, zeker.
Breda got some wonderful young players, that
Tobias.
perform so well in the 18s and hopefully moving up to the 20s for next year. Yeah, Tobias has been one of them. He's been outstanding on the flank there. So
I don't know how do you say what's the surname? Sander?
Hadinagoro.
Yeah, Hadanagoro. Sorry.
yeah,
His son is playing 10 as well, isn't he? He's in there as well.
not a bad little
Die andere
player.
speelt voor Aurillac, toch? Op de 9.
Ja, Boris, maar die
Boris,
andere.
ja.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got some really good players, and Haag maybe affected by a couple of selections for the Delta, but you'd have to think that they'd be too strong. I think the quality that they've still got, even with the boys that are probably away with Delta, will be maybe a little bit too much for Breda, but maybe not the cricket score that everyone might be thinking.
Yeah, look, also end of the year, as you say, how are players approaching this game? That's the difficult part.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think, I think Haagse will have too much for Breda eventually, but I do think it's not going to be...
Not going to be easy.
It's not going to be a walk in the park. No. I think it's never easy playing games at this time of the year. But that does bring us to the sort of end of the show tonight, gents. Any Christmas wishes, should we say, or any Christmas stories that need to be told around the fire with a nice cold Guinness? Mats? To end the year, I mean, you already dropped one bombshell with the Breda beating HRC. You might as well drop another.
Bring another bom. Terug naar Castricum.
Oh!
Nee, dat heb ik niet gezegd.
Oh, je ziet het. Ja, nee, dat is weer ruk.
Nee, het is weer ruk, nee.
Ja.
Nee.
Any plans for the Christmas, Mats?
Ja, met de familie.
Nou, mooi.
Met de familie.
Leuk.
Dus ze komen allemaal bij mij eten.
Who does the cooking, mate? You certainly don't.
Nee. Tom is doing the cooking. He's a
No,
great
he's a
cook.
good front runner. But make sure he
Tom
doesn't.
is a great
Make sure he
cook.
doesn't eat the good parts before he gives it onto the table. Eh?
Backs feeding off scraps.
Don, any nice Christmas stories or anything you got planned for the holidays?
Eerst 2 wedstrijden voor de boeg natuurlijk, maar daarna wordt het feesten. Ouderwets met studenten op de club hebben we nog een feestje. We hebben nog een kerstdiner dat eraan komt. Dus
So you're going to be doing all the catching up of not drinking that hard for 3 months for me.
I'm gonna try my best.
They'll win the third half, that's for sure.
Yeah, always important.
Yeah, Mitch, any plans or?
No, the parents are they're joining us out of New Zealand. They're currently making their way on a cruise through all the Christmas markets in Europe and get to Amsterdam next Wednesday. So it'll be a good Christmas with their grandkids.
So you're going to be just the other kids?
Yep, me and Lex have been planning on that, and we've got a couple of dates planned that we can get out.
Date night.
Date night for
that's
a while.
good Christmas wish right there, mate.
Yeah,
number 3?
I don't think so.
No pressure, man, no pressure.
Give it 2 and out.
And your Christmas?
My Christmas, I'm going back to the sunny continent of Africa, to Botswana, spending time with the family on a safari. Hopefully drinking a nice cold gin and tonic, watching an elephant swim in a river. Fantastic.
Bringing that trophy to see the wild dogs.
Bringing the trophy back to see the wild dogs. That's the important part there. But yeah, look, saying that, ladies and gents, very important that over the Christmas period that you get to spend time with your loved ones, family, friends. And yeah, we're just from Hettersweer Ruck. We'd like to wish everyone a Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. And, you know, we're looking forward to seeing you in the new year, where we have some really cool fixtures. On the 6th of January, we kick off with Rugby Club at Gooi versus Breda. Moving on to the 13th of January, which is officially the last round of the Era Klasse, and the top 6, bottom 6 starting on the 20th of January. We will be back on the 17th of January on your screens. So until then, Merry Merry Christmas and houdoe en bedankt.